You know the sound, that low-frequency hum that lives inside the drywall and floats just above the drop-ceiling tiles. It is the sound of servers processing data that doesn't actually matter. It is the sound of the HVAC system recycling the same stale air you have been breathing for 5 years. Usually, it drives you crazy. But today, the sound is different. Today, it sounds like silence. You are standing in the hallway of the 15th floor. In your hands, you are holding a standard-issue cardboard box. Inside that box, there is no career. There is no legacy. There is a stapler you stole from the supply closet on your first day, a ceramic mug with a coffee stain that refuses to wash out, a framed photo of your wife taken on a beach you promised her you would visit again, but never did, and a phone charger that doesn't even fit your current phone. 5 years, 60 months, 260 weeks, all of it condensed into a cubic foot of cheap cardboard. The frosted glass door in front of you clicks shut. Sarah didn't look back. She didn't even blink. The badge reader on the turnstile downstairs is going to flash red in exactly 10 minutes. Access denied. It will treat you like a virus that the system finally managed to isolate and delete. But before you get on that elevator for the last time, before you feel the gravity of the descent pull your stomach into your shoes, you need to remember how this started. You need to understand how you, a smart, capable person with dreams and ambition, allowed them to disassemble you piece by piece. You need to remember the smell of her perfume, sandalwood and cold ambition. It started with a promise, not a promise of money. That's too vulgar for people like Sarah. It was a promise of belonging. Do you remember your first day? Of course you do. You were wearing that dress shirt that was a little too tight at the collar, desperate to make an impression. The office was a labyrinth of gray and navy blue, an ocean of heads bowed down typing in unison. But then Sarah appeared. She didn't walk. She glided. Vice President of Strategic Operations. The title sounded like royalty. She stopped at your desk, that floating island in the middle of the open floor plan, and she smiled. It wasn't the generic welcome smile HR gives you. It was a smile of recognition, like she had found something valuable in a pile of scrap metal. "You must be the new analyst," she said. Her voice was calm, controlled, the kind of voice that never needs to yell because the room naturally goes quiet to hear it. "I read your report on process efficiency from your old firm. Brilliant. Raw, but brilliant." She invited you into her office, the glass fishbowl in the corner, the only room with a view of the skyline, where the neighboring skyscrapers looked like concrete teeth biting into the smog. She offered you coffee, not the sludge from the break-room carafe, but an espresso from a machine that cost more than your first car. "Do you know why I hired you?" she asked, spinning a Mont Blanc pen between her fingers. "It wasn't for your GPA. It wasn't for your resume. It was for your hunger. I see it in your eyes. You want to build something. The rest of this floor, they just want to clock out and go home to watch streaming services until they pass out. They are livestock. But you are an architect." The word echoed in your head. "Architect. I have a plan," she continued, lowering her voice. "Manufacturing a conspiracy between the two of you. We are about to enter a massive merger. It's going to be bloody. A lot of people are going to be cut. But I need a right hand, someone I can trust blindly, someone to be my secret weapon. Secret weapon. That was the hook. She didn't catch you with a salary, which was barely market rate. She caught you with identity. She gave you a purpose. You weren't just employee number 452 anymore. You were the chosen one, the protege, the future director. If you stick with me, she said, if you help me clean this house and prep the ground for the merger, the junior director chair is yours in 2 years. But it's going to hurt. I'm going to ask more of you than anyone has ever asked. Are you in? You said yes. You shook her hand. Her skin was dry and cool. You should have noticed it then. But you were drunk on the possibility of being special. The first year was what we call the toxic honeymoon. You worked hard, but it felt like it meant something. Sarah copied you on confidential emails. She asked for your opinion on firing senior managers. What do you think about Robert? She would message you on Slack at 11 p.m. He looks tired. I don't think he has the vision for the next phase. You felt powerful. You, a junior, deciding the fate of veterans. You typed back, I agree. He's a bottleneck. And the next week, Robert's desk was empty. You felt a pang of guilt, but Sarah reassured you it was necessary. We are pulling the weeds so the garden can grow. And you are the gardener. The boundaries began to blur. First, it was the hours. Leaving at 6 p.m. is for people with no vision, you told yourself. You started staying until 8, then 9. Then ordering dinner to the office became a ritual. The night security guard learned your name. The cleaning crew started greeting you with pity in their eyes, lifting your feet to vacuum under your desk while you typed frantically. Sarah was never physically there during those hours, but she was everywhere. In your pocket, in your inbox. I need this scrubbed by tomorrow morning. The notification would light up at midnight. And you did it, because you were the secret weapon. Weapons don't sleep. Weapons don't complain. Then came the second year, the erosion. Do you remember the smell of your own skin back then? You started to smell like stress, an acidic sweat mixed with stale coffee and expired deodorant. You stopped going to the gym. No time, you said. I'll get back to it after the merger. Your girlfriend, Clara, she tried to warn you. You aren't here anymore, she said during a dinner where you spent the entire time checking your BlackBerry. Yes, the company gave you a work phone like it was a trophy, but it was just an electronic leash. I am here, babe, you replied, never looking up from the blue light. I just need to answer Sarah. It's a crisis in the London branch. There's always a crisis, Lucas, and it's always you who has to fix it. She's the VP. Why doesn't she fix it? You got angry. How could she not understand? Because she trusts me. I'm being groomed, Clara. Any day now, I'll be director. We can buy that house. We can travel. She looked at you with a sadness you only understand now. You don't live in that house with me anymore. You live inside your laptop. The erosion continued. You missed your father's 60th birthday. A quick FaceTime from the office bathroom stall with the sound of a flushing toilet in the background. Happy birthday, Dad? Yeah, it's crazy here. The merger, you know? It'll calm down soon. You missed your best friend's wedding. You sent an expensive gift to compensate for your empty seat. Sarah told you she needed you that weekend to prep the slide deck for the board. It's the final sprint, she said, placing a hand on your shoulder. The touch felt heavy. Just this last push. The board is going to eat out of our hands. And when they approve the merger with tech giant, this department doubles in size, and you will lead the new division. You believed her, because the alternative was admitting that you had thrown 2 years of your life into a furnace. Hope is the cruelest torture mechanism in the corporate world. The merger, the big day. The office looked like a war zone. Pizza boxes stacked in the corners, the smell of cold pepperoni, and human exhaustion. You hadn't slept in 36 hours. Your eyes burned so bad it felt like there was sand under your eyelids. You had built the financial models. You had drawn the org chart. You had personally fired 12 analysts from the legacy team to optimize costs before the audit. You became the monster Sarah wanted, cold, efficient, numerical. When you walked into that boardroom to present the data, you were floating, adrenaline and caffeine. You presented the numbers, charts going up, costs going down, the red line of layoffs generating the green line of profit. The executives from the acquiring company applauded. Sarah was at the head of the table. She smiled at you. That same smile from the first day, a smile of pride. "This is Lucas," she told the CEO of the new holding company. "He was the architect of this transition. We couldn't have done it without his obsessive dedication." Obsessive. The word sounded like a compliment. The CEO shook your hand. "Good job, son. Good job." You walked out of that room feeling like you had won the game. You called Clara, even though she hadn't picked up your calls in months. You left a euphoric voicemail. "I did it, Clara. It's over. The merger is approved. I'm going to be director." You went home and slept for 14 hours straight. It was the sleep of the righteous, the sleep of mission accomplished. The following Monday, the office felt strange. There were new security guards in the lobby, faces you didn't know. The atmosphere was heavy, silent. People were whispering in the corridors. It's normal, you thought. It's the integration. Change scares people. You walked to your desk. There was an email in your inbox. Subject: Organizational update. Mandatory attendance. Sender: Human resources. Your stomach turned to ice. But you rationalized it. They must be announcing my promotion. They are going to formalize the new structure. You walked to Sarah's glass office. The blinds were closed. That never happened. Sarah liked transparency, liked to survey her empire. You knocked. "Come in." Her voice sounded muffled. You entered. The room was different. Boxes, but not her moving boxes. It was files being cleared out. Sarah was sitting behind her desk. She didn't stand up. Next to her was a woman you had never seen. Gray suit, neutral expression, notepad in hand. "HR. "Sit down, Lucas," Sarah said. She didn't point to the chair. She stared at her computer screen. You sat. The leather of the chair made a squeaking sound in the silence. "What's going on?" you asked, forcing a smile. "The presentation was a hit, right? The stock is up 4% at the opening bell." Sarah finally looked at you, and that's when you saw it. There was no hate in her eyes. There was no malice. Worse, there was nothing. Her eyes were empty glass. You weren't the secret weapon anymore. You were a spent casing, a hollow shell on the floor. "The merger was an absolute success, Lucas." She began, using that soft corporate tone that dampens the sound of the gunshot. "And your efficiency models were crucial. So crucial that the new board decided to implement the automation system you suggested on page 42 of the report." You blinked. "Yes, the automation for entry-level tasks. For the junior analysts." "Not just for the juniors," the HR woman interrupted. Her voice was sandpaper. "The system you designed is self-sufficient. It eliminates redundancy in middle management. It centralizes decision-making." The world stopped spinning. The hum of the HVAC vanished. Redundancy in middle management, you repeated. But I am middle management. I created the process. Exactly, Sarah said. And you did a perfect job. You built a system that doesn't need constant supervision. You made the department so efficient that your role, the role of human oversight, has become an unnecessary cost. You laughed, a nervous, dry laugh. Sarah, what are you talking about? What about the directorship, the promise? I sacrificed 2 years. I lost my girlfriend. I didn't see my father in the hospital last week because I was finishing the slide deck for you. Sarah sighed, a sigh of impatience like someone explaining math to a slow child. Lucas, look at the market. Director is just a title. What you gained here was experience. You have on your resume that you spearheaded a billion-dollar merger. That's worth more than any job title. She clasped her hands on the desk. As part of the post-merger synergy restructuring, we are eliminating the strategic coordination layer. Your position ceases to exist as of this moment. You tried to speak, but your throat closed up. But we're a team. You said I was your secret weapon. Sarah stood up. She walked to the window, looking at the city outside. Weapons are tools, Lucas. You use them to win a war. Once the war is over, you don't keep them on the dinner table. You put them away. She turned around. Her face was a mask. This is for your own growth. You got too comfortable here, operating in my shadow. Now you are free to pursue new challenges. The severance package is generous. 3 months of salary and health insurance extension for 30 days. The HR woman pushed a manila envelope across the desk. We need your badge and your laptop. Now, security will escort you to your desk to collect your personal items. You looked at the envelope, then at Sarah. You knew, you whispered. Since the beginning, you made me design the guillotine that would cut off my own head. Sarah sat back down and opened her laptop. She was already reading the next email. Don't take it personally, Lucas. It's just business, efficiency. That's what you sold me, remember? Pure efficiency. She didn't even say goodbye, and here you are, in the hallway, with the box. The security guard, a guy named Carlos, who you never spoke to because you were always in a rush, is standing 6 feet away. He looks at the floor, embarrassed for you. He has more humanity in his awkward silence than Sarah had in 2 years of mentorship. You press the elevator button. As the metal doors slide open, you catch your reflection in the polished steel. You look 10 years older. There are deep bags under your eyes, gray hairs that weren't there before, the slumped posture of someone who carried the world on their shoulders and found out the world didn't care. You step into the elevator. The lobby button looks like the eject button. As you descend floor by floor, you feel the anger. But it's not a hot, explosive anger. It's a cold anger, solid. You realize the true betrayal wasn't the firing. The betrayal was the illusion. They sold you the idea that the company was a family, so you would agree to be treated like a volunteer slave. They called it passion when it was exploitation. They called it ownership when it was actually you peeling off your own skin to upholster their office furniture. The doors open to the lobby. The sunlight outside is blinding, aggressive. You hand your badge to the receptionist. The final beep is sharp. You walk out onto the street. The noise of traffic, of people, of real life hits you like a wave. You look up at the top of the building. The company logo shines up there, massive, untouchable. Inside on the 15th floor, Sarah is drinking another espresso. She is probably already on LinkedIn, scouting for the next raw talent, the next secret weapon, the next hungry kid who will burn their youth to keep her lights on. You walk to your car. You throw the box onto the passenger seat. The stapler topples over. The photo of your ex-girlfriend slides under the seat. You turn the key in the ignition. The radio comes on automatically. Some generic pop song. You turn it off. You prefer the silence. For the first time in 2 years, there are no notifications. There are no deadlines. There are no urgent deliverables. There is just you and the steering wheel and the empty road ahead. You are unemployed. You are alone. You were used and discarded. But as you shift into first gear and pull away from the shadow of that glass tower, you take a deep breath. The air smells like carbon monoxide and hot asphalt. But for the first time in a long time, the air is yours. The screen cuts to black. The sound of traffic cuts out abruptly. Lucas's story is fiction, but the pain in his chest is not. How many of you are right now reading this script with a spreadsheet tab open on the side, waiting for a compliment that will never pay your bills? How many of you have a Sarah in your life calling your exhaustion potential? They call it burnout. We call it theft. Theft of your time, your health, your soul. The system isn't broken, folks. The system is working exactly as it was designed. It consumes the fuel, you, and it keeps moving forward. If you have ever felt like you are building the guillotine for your own neck, if you have ever heard the phrase, "it's for your growth," while they pushed you off a cliff, welcome to the channel. We aren't colleagues here. We are survivors. Subscribe if you want to understand the gears before they crush you. Drop a comment below. What was the most beautiful lie your boss ever told you? The office lights are off, but we are still awake. I'll see you on the next shift.